Hey y'all, we are back, and it is time for another episode of our Boston Red Sox series here on Out of the Park Baseball 21. As you can see, it is Thursday, March 24th, 2022. It is opening day. I took the liberty to spare all you guys some time, and I simulated through the rest of the offseason and through spring training. That way we did not have to sit through any of that. So I do have a lot to talk about. I think the first thing that we should talk about is the Hall of Fame voting, which we skipped over. So as you can see, Alex Rodriguez and David Ortiz made the Hall of Fame. Now, as I said in the last start of the season video, normally I would vote for these Hall of Fame things. I would actually put in about myself. That is something that you can do. But this time I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to see who the game decides to put in. And you can see A-Rod and Ortiz made it in. A-Rod in his first year got 98.9% of the vote. Ortiz got 90.8%. Sammy Sosa, the main notable that dropped off. You can see he only got 23.9% of the vote in his final year on the ballot, so he will not make it. Joe Nathan got 24.3% of the votes in his first year. Jimmy Rollins got 27.2% in his first year. Manny sitting at 43.8%. Sheffield at 36%. Todd Helton at 25.7%. Billy Wagner only at 20.2%. So it does not seem like he will make it in. You can see the other guys that dropped off, mainly just in their first, second, or third years. Torrey Hunter, Carl Crawford, Kyle Loesch, Phillies legend Kyle Loesch, Javier Vasquez, and Bobby Abreu all dropped off along with Sosa. So we'll see next year if anything different happens. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, yes. So you can probably see the team injuries. We were not as lucky in spring training this year as we were last year. We actually had some more injuries throughout the spring training period, but they have since all healed up. But we do have a few that will linger into the season. You can see Josh Hader will be out. Oh, that's what I want. Josh Hader will be out for 8 weeks. He has a strained forearm. So we will be without him for the first couple months of the season. Andrew Chafin will be out for another 2 months. He tore his triceps, which was pretty unfortunate because he was a pretty solid pitcher for us a season ago. And Ozuna got elbow tendonitis. This is a little concerning with the contract that I gave him. He will be back in about 4 weeks. So those are the injuries that we were dealing with now. I did have to go out and try to fill these holes on the team. So for the relief pitchers, one of them I was just able to kind of do in-house. We have this Durbin Felton guy. You can see that he has been in the organization for a while, and I'm deciding to fast-track him from AA, where he was last year. We are going to put him in the majors to start the season, and we'll see what he can do. We also made a trade with the Colorado Rockies. I traded them a minor league catcher for Jairo Diaz. You can see he's 30 years old. He will turn 31 in a couple of months. An extreme ground ball pitcher. He's not so much a leader as a follower, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can see in Colorado last year, he put up a 4.05 FIP. He had 55 strikeouts, 34 walks, which is not the best ratio, granted, but this was the best option that I could find on the trade block and the one that made the most sense because it did not cost a lot to acquire him. So now he is in our bullpen for the season. He is currently our setup guy. We still have Presley, Hendricks, and Yates. I also still have Brewer in a setup role, and Colin McHugh will enter the season as our long relief man. No changes to the starting rotation. We have Chris Sale, Mike Clevenger, Deplanier, Politi, and Armenteros. Now, the lineups is where it kind of gets interesting a little bit. So there was a comment from one of you that made a note that there was a international free agent player that you thought could be maybe a good acquisition. And I decided, now before all these injuries happened, I did sign him. And this guy, if you guys did not see the comment, was Roberto Ramos. There we go, got his name right. 6'5", 220. He's turned 27 years old. You can see that with the bat, he should be pretty good. A 60 grade contact rating, 65 grade home run power. He's had a pretty good eye. He's not going to strike out a lot. Not really great on the base paths, but a 3-star player. He should be pretty good defensively, which is good. You can see in his final year in the KBO, he had an OPS of 924. He had 30 home runs and 115 RBI. In the KBO, he was a 5-win player. Now, naturally, I'm not expecting him to do all of that here, at least initially. So I signed him to a 1-year contract. He wanted, I think, $4.3 million. I got him for $3.5. So we'll see if he can kind of turn anything. You can see that he was in the major leagues before, but he didn't really have an opportunity, so he went over to Korea, put up a couple solid years there. I guess really one solid year in 2021. And now he is back over in the major leagues, so we signed him to a 1-year contract. And I figured, I was complaining last year about how the offense wasn't very good and we had absolutely no power. So if nothing else, this guy should be able to give us some power. Now, I did all this without really having a spot in the lineup for him. Now that's obviously not really an issue with the injury to Ozuna, because we have now slotted him into first base. We have Cassius as our DH. The one issue with this, well, I guess there's a couple. The main issue for right now is that he's a lefty, and we have a lot of lefties already, and there's not really any way I can break these guys up that makes sense, because Jeter Downs is not ready at all for a spot in the lineup. There's going to be at least 3 lefties in a row at some point. Even if I move McCutchen down to 3 and Devers to 2, I still have 3. So, and I don't really want to do that anyway. I kind of want to keep the lineup the way it is. I'm not going to move Vasquez or Galvis up here in this middle portion of the lineup. So there's not much I can do, but I figure we really struggled to put runs on the board last year, and the addition of Ramos should definitely help. Now, when Ozuna gets back, I'm not quite sure what I want to do. We will have to cross that bridge when we get to it, but that's a good problem to have. I think that's a very good problem to have. By the way, I don't want to show Gamble. I want to show Tsutsugo, because you can see now he has switched his expectation to being a bench player, which is good, which I'm very happy about. It seems like he wants to do whatever he can to help the team. We'll take a look at team chemistry. So McCutchen and Galvis are 2 of our captains, our 2 captains, I guess would be a good way to put it. Tsutsugo and Melee, we have as a couple of leaders. We have a spark plug in Corbin Joseph. We have a prankster in Jeter Downs. Chris Sale is, I guess he's no longer selfish, which is a good thing to see. Tristan Cassius is still unmotivated. Maybe that'll change. I mean, Chris Sale is apparently no longer selfish, which is good. Maybe he's finally found a home here with the Boston Red Sox. As all of you know, this is his opt-out year. If he has a good year this season, maybe he might opt out. I don't think he will, regardless. But we'll see. That's an issue for another day. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was that I also set up all of my minor league teams. I did not go through Lowell or any of my rookie league teams yet. I will do that closer to the draft, but the minor league teams that will start play up soon: Pawtucket, Portland, Salem, and Greenville. I have gone through. I have set all the strategies. I have set all the rotations, all the bullpens, all the lineups. People that need to play are playing. I've had to force start a couple of guys, but they are all ready to go. I think that was basically everything that I needed to talk about before we start. Oh, John Henry, he thinks that this team should play 500 ball, which indicates to me that he doesn't think we're going to have a very good season. I think that this could be a playoff team, in the injuries notwithstanding. I guess that health might be an issue if spring training is any indication, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. These are the preseason predictions, and they're expecting us to go 90-72 and win the division. We would be the 3rd best team in the American League, and it looks like one of the top 6 or 7 teams in baseball. Just a quick glance. We're supposed to score 808 runs and hit 258 home runs, which would be a lot better than what we did a season ago. Not a lot of stolen bases, but I don't really put a premium on stolen bases, so that's okay. 710 runs against, a 4.23 team ERA, 1,518 strikeouts to 582 walks. They expect us to win this division by 4 games. Cleveland is supposed to come back and go 97-65, win the AL Central. It seems like the AL West is supposed to be pretty tight, but not very good. The Astros, Angels, and Athletics all projected to finish tied for first with an 88-74 record. We are supposed to have one of the top bats in the American League with Rafael Devers. They're expecting him to have a .621 slugging percentage. Wow. And hit 41 home runs. They're expecting Christian Arroyo to hit 49 home runs. I don't know where this came from, but yeah, he was never this type of player before, and now suddenly he's become a 50 potential home run guy. That's the fun of OOTP, man. You never know. You just never know with these guys. Do we have any of the top pitchers? So they're projecting Sale to be one of the better pitchers in the American League, which is nice to see. They think he's going to have a 3.45 ERA, pitch close to 200 innings, which would be incredible. Striking out 206 players while walking only 39. I would not be upset if that was the case. They're expecting my Phillies to go 72-90. Yikes. What are they? How do they look? They have, I mean, the lineup's not totally different. They now have Willians Astudillo as their catcher. They have Marcus Semien as their shortstop, and I looked at the trading block. They're already trying to trade him away, which is a little odd. The rotation looks a little... yikes. Okay, I can see why they think this team's going to go 72-90. Anyway, the Dodgers, as I said in the past couple episodes, they tend to turn out to be a super team, and they are expected to win 107 games, by far the best mark in the league. They have the Zach McKinstry guy at third base, who looks like he's going to be pretty good. Obviously, Corey Seager looks like he'll be very good for a long time. Cody Bellinger, we don't even have to talk about what he's going to do. Gavin Lux has turned out to be an incredible player. Wow, this team's going to be very good for a long time. Will Smith is a good guy to have, both at the plate and behind the plate. Max Muncy is still good. Jock Peterson has power, and he's a good defense. Oh, my goodness gracious. What a team the Dodgers are. I should have chosen the Dodgers. Man, okay. Well, anyway, I think that's all that I have to talk about. Brian Mata will be out for another 7 weeks. I think that he'll probably get some major league time this year. I'd be shocked if he didn't. He's still a top 100 prospect. He's 22 years old. So when he comes back from his injury, I'll start him out at AAA. And then depending on how the pitchers are doing, we might call him up. I'm expecting Politi to regress a little bit. I'm expecting Armenteros to just be average, nothing more than that. So he might be able to take one of their spots. Deplanier, his expectation is being in the bullpen, which kind of scares me a little bit. So if he turns out to really regress from what he's done the past couple of years, he might be a guy that we look to replace. And I hope that's not the case because he's done pretty well for us over the past 2 seasons since we've gotten him. But I don't know. Pitching is always such an issue to find, at least in my experience. So at least we do have some options in case we need to go down that route. But we'll take a look at the schedule. I'm not going to go game by game like I have in the past for April and March. You can see we start off with a 4-game series at home against Toronto. We have an early interleague series against the Reds. And then we hit the road. We go to Tampa Bay, Tropicana Field to play the Rays. We have a 2-game interleague set against the Miami Marlins. 4 games against the White Sox, 3 against Cleveland. Then we have our first series against the Yankees in the middle of April. It's a 3-game set. We stay on the road. We have 3 games at Toronto, 3 games at Baltimore, 3 games versus Toronto, and then we end April with what looks to be a 3-game set, I suppose, against the Rays, which goes into May. So that probably seems like a good place to stop. Probably this series against the Orioles on Monday, May 2nd. It would give us a chance to see how the team's looking a month and a half in and see if we need to make any adjustments that we can make. I don't think I would make trades at that point, but we'll see how the team's doing. I'll be back around that time. All right, it is May 2nd. The Red Sox 14-20. One of the biggest pieces of news was that Roberto Ramos won Rookie of the Month for the American League. You can see that his batting average was not very great, but his OPS was, and we will show you that in a second. But the Red Sox 14-20. We are currently in last place in the American League East, but we are only 4.5 games out. Every team has really started a little slow in this division. We have definitely started slow, and we are 5.5 back in a crowded AL wildcard race through about the first month and a half of the season. Big injury news, Chris Sale tore his labrum, so he will be out for another 3 months, which is upsetting. He had gone through 3 starts without allowing a run. That's just what baseball is, though. You got to deal with injuries. Another big piece of news, we had to send down John Deplanier. You can see he's unhappy, but we had to send him down. He was killing us in the 6 games that he started, an 8.14 ERA. He had struck out 21, but only walked 19. It's what I was afraid of when it said that he wanted to be in the bullpen. It kind of scared me a little bit, and clearly my fears were not without reason, so we had to send him down. We called up Tanner Houck. He just made his first start against the Rays, and he did pretty well. He got his first win. He went 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, a lot of home run, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. He was doing very well in AAA, 22 strikeouts to just 2 walks and 4 starts. So at 25 years old, it made sense to call him up. Now to replace Chris Sale, we called up Thad Ward, who had started 17 games last season in AAA, and he did very, very well. So we've called him up this year, and he's done pretty well through 4 starts, a 3.63 ERA. The FIP is a little concerning, but 22 strikeouts to 9 walks. If he can cut the walks a little bit, I think that he will be okay. He had some home run problems, as you can see, in his first 2 games. He allowed 2 against the White Sox and 2 against the Yankees, but he's since kind of calmed down a little bit. It seems like maybe he just was a little nervous through his first 2 appearances in the big leagues, but now it seems like he is okay. Taking a look at the rest of the team, we'll start with the lineup, and we'll sort by OPS. Alex Kirilloff is our leader in OPS right now at 976. He is tearing the cover off the ball. It's inflated by his 402 BABIP, but still, he has 5 home runs, 21 RBI. He struck out 25 times. He's walked 14. Roberto Ramos, as I said, the batting average is not super high, but the 869 OPS is good. He is 3rd on the team right now with 6 home runs, and he leads the team in RBI with 25. He has struck out 30 times and walked 19, which is not too bad at all. We brought in McCutchen to be a power sort of outfielder that could lead the team. And through his first month and a half, the 820 OPS isn't something that I can be upset about. He has 4 home runs, which is pretty respectable, 12 RBI, 27 to 10 strikeout to walk ratio. Cassius has an OPS over 800 at 819. He has 9 home runs. He currently leads the team. Jeter Downs started off very, very hot, but to his credit, he's still doing well. An 812 OPS. The 382 BABIP will come down, so his overall offensive numbers will most likely come down as well. But for at least the first month and a half, he's done pretty well. I actually moved him up in the lineup to 5th, and I moved him up in the lineup because Joey Gallo started off very, very slow. It seems like he's picked it up a little bit. Now he's 2nd on the team in home runs with 7. A 779 OPS isn't too bad. The 100 OPS plus, so he's been pretty average for the most part. Devers started off hot, but he is on a major, major cold streak, a 719 OPS. This is the worst we've seen him perform, I think, in this save. And then Galvis, he's not obviously very good offensively. I don't have him in there for offense, despite what he did last year. Christian Vasquez, though, has been a black hole in the lineup, even batting him 9th. And this is kind of where you have to start to weigh what defense really means to you. And it's something that I'm going to have to consider too, because you can see he's very good defensively. I'm sure he's helping out the pitching staff a little bit, especially the young guys that we just called up. But a 445 OPS, a 14 OPS plus, even with the 214 BABIP, these numbers are still very, very concerning. So this is where you kind of have to start to weigh what's important to you. You can't have a guy like this in the lineup for 6 months. It's different if his OPS is in like the 660s, maybe close to 700, and he's getting on base at a somewhat respectable clip, but this is just not acceptable. He has 16 hits, and we're in May, which is not good at all. So hopefully he turns it around. This is the final year of his contract, so it's not like we have him forever. We can always get rid of him if we need to, but I really don't want to. He's been part of this team for a long time, so I would really like to hold on to him. Going to the pitching side of things, if we take a look, we'll sort by, I guess we can sort by FIP. Why not? We'll start with the starting rotation. We talked about Thad Ward. We talked about Tanner Houck. Mike Clevenger has been pretty solid so far. The 3.64 ERA and 3.92 FIP. 46 strikeouts to 16 walks. As a reminder, this is his final year. This is his walk year. He will become a free agent after this season, so we will have to keep a close eye on him. He is 31 years old. He'll turn 32 soon, so we have to really see if it's going to be worth it to retain this guy and give him the money that he probably wants. I'd be interested to see what that would be. And you can see he wants a $28 million a year deal for the next 7 years. You normally don't want to do that for a 30-plus-year-old pitcher because he's going to be on the downside of his career pretty soon. We already went through it with Sale, and we can see how that's turning out. So we're going to have to really determine if that's something that we want to do. Politi has been good. Once again, a 3.60 ERA. The FIP of 4.451 it's not really what I like to see. He actually started off very, very well. It seems like he's come back down to earth a little bit, which is to be expected. But I think he can sit around this ERA throughout the entire season. Armenteros, another guy that we're really going to have to try to look to see if we can get a replacement for him because he has not been good. I was a little worried last year when his FIP was 5.06 and seemed like that was kind of an omen because now he has just done very, very bad. I mean, he has 24 strikeouts to 7 walks, but everything else has just been very, very bad So I think starting pitching once again has been an issue. And with Sale out for 3 months, we don't really have anybody in the minor leagues that I can call up as a starting pitcher to take their spot. I don't really have anybody else that's ready. Santillan, really, that trade that we made with the Reds for him, it never really worked out. He has not been a very good acquisition. And all my other pitchers that I would consider are just way too young. So it is something that we're going to have to try to see if we can get another pitcher in here. I'd like to see if anybody's on the trading block. Tyler Anderson, but he just had elbow ligament reconstruction surgery, so nope. And after that, the best starting pitcher is Trevor Cahill, and I don't really know how much of an upgrade Trevor Cahill is over Armenteros. I know he's started the season well, but he's in the bullpen. I don't know how he would be as a starter. So we might have to look very hard for a starting pitcher to replace Armenteros. You can see where we are. We're 9th in runs scored, which is not acceptable. I built this team up to be very good offensively, and when the only guy that we're missing is Ozuna, and we're still only 9th in runs scored, that's very upsetting. 12th in home runs with all the power that I added to this lineup. That's not acceptable. You can take a look at how we're doing pitching-wise, too. We're 5th in pitching WAR, which I suppose is okay, but 9th in starters ERA, 8th in bullpen ERA. We're tied for 7th in runs against. So, I mean, we're not out of it. It's only May. We're only 4.5 games out. We started off the season very slow, especially in April. I mean, you can see that we had a good run here through about the first week, but there was a stretch in April. We'll start with this game here against Miami. You can see that we lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we went 2-12 over a 14-game stretch. The only wins came against the White Sox and the Yankees, and you can't go 2-12 and expect to be in a good position. The fact that we're only 4.5 games out after going 2-12 I think, is nothing short of remarkable. And now we've kind of turned it around a little bit. You can see we took 2 of 3 from Baltimore, 2 of 3 from Toronto, and 2 of 3 from Tampa Bay. So now we're starting to win some series again, which is good. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like this team always starts off slow. I don't quite get it. I don't know really what I can do. I don't know if it's the hitting coach that I need to get. I don't know if I should maybe try to get a new hitting coach. If we take a look at personnel, Tim, I mean, he's been here for a while. I thought that he would be fine, but with our runs scored have just gone down each season. It doesn't seem like we're going to do much better than we did a season ago when we scored 746 if we're at 158 right now. So I don't know if maybe we should try to get a new hitting coach in here and fire the hitting coach. I trust this pitching coach. I mean, you can see the 4.33 ERA. It's not incredible, but I don't think that he's the issue. As I said, I really think that the offense is a lot of the issue right now. I mean, as I said, I built this team to score a lot of runs, and we are not scoring a lot of runs often enough. The fact that we're 9th in runs scored in the American League. Now, granted, it's early. Things could even out, but it's still upsetting to see, and I think it's a big reason why this team is only 14-20. But anyway, that'll about do it, I think, for this episode. Next episode, as always, we'll get up to the draft. We'll do the draft. If we need to explore trades in the next episode, maybe we can do that too. I don't really know what I would trade. It's not real. I don't really have a ton of assets that I would be able to trade for anything, I don't think. I mean, I think it would be helpful to get a starting pitcher in here because Sale is going to be out for another 3 months. So you're looking at August, September, somewhere in that time frame when he would come back, and then you're assuming that none of my other starting pitchers are going to get injured. So I guess the one positive is that Brian Mata is 1 week from returning, so that could be one way to fill the gap. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Looking at how our minor league teams are doing, it does not seem like they're doing super well through the first couple weeks of their season. Pawtucket's in 6th place, Portland's in 6th place, Salem's in 4th place, Greenville 13-11, the only team above 500. They are in 3rd place. I don't know. It's a slow start. It's part of this game, man. You got to have a lot of patience when you're playing out of the park baseball. You can't get too frustrated or upset. You just have to understand that just like sports in real life, things don't always go the way that you want them to. So you have to just power through and hope that they turn around, and that's what we're going to have to do with this team. There's not really anything I can do. This is the team that we've locked ourselves into this year for the most part. I don't really know what else I can do. So we'll see if they can turn it around, I suppose. We were expected to go 90-72. Our owner expected us to just play 500 ball, so I think that we should be a little better than we are right now. But thank you for watching this episode. I'll see you next time.